to Coffee and Chaos. You totally cheated, Solomon. I wasn't ready.
Well, it's because you're always on your phone. That's why it gets you off.
I was putting it on silent because I took a little video of precursor. I'm going to use that word.
We all learned a new word today.
We've learned a new word. Welcome to Coffee and Chaos. I'm Alina, your host, and we got Tom.
Hello, everyone.
TikTok Tom. TikTok Tom.
Uh-oh.
Happy feet, dancing feet, Tom.
Yep.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute.
Gina.
Hola.
Solomon.
Hola. Since everybody else is saying hola.
I know. Hola.
Hi.
I said that yesterday.
Feliz Navidad. ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, there we go. There we go. I said hola yesterday to my dad, and he looked at me like, hi. I was like, what's up, Pops? All right. So today, it's the three of us. Solomon, of course, as always. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it because we're ready.
Yeah.
So let me discuss the topic for a quick second, and then you guys could take it over because I want to clarify what we're actually talking about.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, it's going to sound like I'm totally hashtag women. You're kind of not. Tom's kind of not. I'm totally going to defend the women today.
I'm kind of not there.
Okay.
So they need an advocate, and somebody feels like I'm just going to hashtag women today. So if you are married or living with a partner and let's say 10 plus years, and I have zero experience in this. And my question that I've asked, and actually I started this survey, I guess. I actually started it like last year because when I started the podcast, a lot of people have been asking me to talk about this. And the one thing I don't really talk about is sex on here.
Right.
Because I don't like to get explicit because that's just not what I do. But a lot of people have said like, what happens when you have problems in the bedroom when you're married? And I didn't realize what people actually meant. So more and more men have discussed this topic with me because they're the ones that have the issue, I guess. If you're married for over 10 years, kids, no kids, doesn't matter. Out of every 10 times that your husband asks for sex, how often do you tell him no? And is the reasoning suffice for him? So that was how it kind of started, right? But then it was I was hearing more and more, and I'm talking well over 15 men who are married. It's not that women are saying no. I mean, it's not that they're saying no like every third or fourth time. They're just saying no in general. Sex has stopped for 6 months or more. Is it okay for a woman to no longer indulge in that part of the marriage with her husband, knowing what a very important part of the marriage that is? Not only, I believe for each other, but yes, for a man too. That's a huge part. When you stop saying no. So we're not talking about those times where you just don't feel good.
Or you're tired or something like that. Or
I'm saying when you've gotten to a point where you're like,
you're just done.
I'm out.
And it's a halt and it's nothing. I think there's only two things happening. Only two. It's that you're not interested in that person anymore because you're interested in somebody else, or something that they're doing is causing you to be totally turned off. Right?
Because women are so emotionally bound.
Because sex doesn't happen when the act happens. Right? Sex happens during the day with the look, or you spanked me on my butt, or you told me I was pretty. Like for us, that's where sex starts. Right? And so if you are keeping me in my feminine energy, then absolutely I am ready. But if you are, my new name is bitch, or I didn't do this right, or I didn't do that right, or I don't like the way you're treating me, or all of a sudden this and that, that's going to dry me up. That's just the honest truth. So it's going to dry me up. So I'm going to say, no, don't touch me.
But do you think that, so you're saying, and again, I'm asking these questions not because this is what I believe. I'm asking them so that people could be educated. And the one thing I want to say is none of us are therapists.
No.
This is all based off life experiences.
Absolutely.
He has to continue to date you.
yes, I think he should be just as interested. Maybe I'm doing something that's causing him to feel some type of way.
She's disgusted
Or
or
she's resentful,
because of
right?
whatever the way he's acting.
Right.
And she's got this wall up.
Exactly.
Hey, man. Nah.
But here's the problem about that. I'm going to tell you what the problem is that motherfucker will always turn around and be like, you're cheating. No, it's you. It's literally you, and you don't want to hear it.
What do you mean?
The problem that I'm having and why I'm saying no is because of what you've done,
What you're doing.
what you've done, and you continue to do.
Okay, but wait a minute. So with that being said, is it maybe not what he's doing, but what she's doing is why he's not treating her with that love and genuine.
Right. That's why I said
this
it
and
could
that.
be something
So
that I've done.
So because it goes like, you
Right.
know, the girl's just like, it's you, and I'm treating you backwards and not giving you in because you're acting this way. But the guy's, well, yeah, I'm acting that way because you're acting this way. So it's kind of like it goes a tick for a tack. It's going back and forth.
Yes, and that happens,
guys
and
are
you're
building
in
a
like
case against each
you're
other.
on a merry-go-round, right?
Sure.
And sometimes people don't know when to stop, right? But that's why I said the problem therein, because we feel you guys think,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Men are very visual.
right?
Yeah.
So,
and yeah,
Yep.
we don't operate that way.
Hmm.
It's the small things that need to continue to happen. But this is how I feel. Look, I'm not a mind reader. I don't do that. So you have to tell me. Like,
But women want you to mind read, though.
I don't.
They very
I
much
don't.
like that.
I'm very verbal.
Yes.
I don't expect you to know me to a T.
You should just know.
No. I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate that because that's what I've gotten. You should just know, bro.
But it's not that women should just know. I think that, again, I'm taking the side of the woman today. So understand that is if we're married, we have kids, I've cooked all day. I went to work all day. I came home and I cooked. The kids are all rounded up and you work too. And now you come home and dinner is ready. It's not that we expect you to be a mind reader, but at some point you have to think, damn, my baby was at work all day. She came home and got the kids. She cooked dinner. Like, let me show her an effort.
But on the flip side, too, that because she's thinking about what you didn't give me, she's not thinking about what my husband went through all day. What is in his mind? How has he dealt with this world?
Right.
What did he go do for me? He went to the grocery store. He picked all the stuff up for me. He did all
what
this
your
X,
day
Y, and
was
Z
like
throughout the day.
Hold on,
Right.
but do you think that you going to work and dealing with the world is harder than me going to work and dealing with the world and then dealing with your kids on top
what
of
I'm
that?
saying is what's harder is me going to work and dealing with the world and dealing with a disgruntled wife.
right.
Now I'm disgruntled. Damn.
Well, because
well-
if you're being whatever, if you're being this
yeah.
difficult, so it's crazy because you'll see some men that will, damn, babe, my baby's this and that. She's frustrated. She's this, and he'll start doing all these things around it. And what's crazy is the more that he's doing it, the more she's being a bigger bitch.
I've
He
seen
just
that.
keeps
I've
on
seen
adding to it.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do that. He did this, but he
Right.
forgot that one. So,
Well, that's
man,
that.
motherfucker did 10 things.
That'll
I'm
be our
just
biggest
pointing out the
downfall.
shit.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, you keep on
That's
doing
our
that
biggest
shit.
downfall.
Don't keep on like getting and he's
Right.
trying. He's
He's
trying.
trying.
You're just like, yeah, but it's just like not enough, you know,
Or whatever
He didn't
it
do
is.
it all, and so that's
You know what that
that's the
is?
problem. Though I'm going to say though for both men and women,
Yes.
we are both ungrateful for each other.
Oh,
and then what
yeah.
ends up happening is we're never thinking about, I wonder what my husband went through today, what he had to deal
Right.
with as a man, as bringing home the bacon, as protecting his home, as taking care of everybody, right?
Right.
So they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, well, he didn't do me. You know, he didn't send me something,
Okay,
how many I love yous.
Yes.
He didn't bring me flowers.
Right.
Or da-da-da. He didn't.
So then
Well, wait
all
a
that
minute.
builds
So-
up. I get
Yeah.
it. You know, but it's you have to go back to the basics. How was your day? What happened? Are you good? Who did it?
But a lot of times what people are
It's
doing.
that part.
It's what people that are doing and they're showing you. They're like, wait a minute, I show you I love you by everything I just did for you, right? They say it all the time, right? Like, well, of course,
Actions
you know,
speak louder than words.
Yeah,
right?
I went and, you know,
But again, for women, we want the affirmation. I
But do you
guess.
think that women have become so independent? Like now you're both working, right? You're
so
both
now
paying
that
bills.
role?
So now
right?
it's causing a lot of issues because for
Yeah.
him, everything that Tom just said is correct, right? Tom went and dealt with the world.
Yeah.
And did all this stuff and maybe went to the grocery store and came home. So now it's what he says, like you're both looking at each other, why did this? Why did this? Why did this?
Right.
I feel that when it comes to that part, the woman holds the key, right? When you're married, because she can say yes or no at any given minute.
She can
And
set
if
the
she-
tone.
If she says yes, then you have to jump, right? And we're talking about the bedroom. And if she says no, then you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
If she tells, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So if she comes to you and wants it, you're going to give it to her, even if you're not in the mood.
Because it's
Probably.
like pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a guy could do
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
A woman
Because it's like
doesn't
pizza.
do it as much.
Yeah, she
right?
she
Even if
holds
it's
the
bad,
key.
it's good.
Because if you want it and you go and she says no, you're not getting it. But if she wants it, and even though in the back you're like, I'm tired, I just worked a 12-hour shift, you're like, all right, babe, let's go.
But they're basically weaponizing the sex.
Right.
They got it as
Right.
a tool, and they're
Right.
going to manipulate,
Right.
and they're going to do all
Right.
kinds of crazy. Well, you know what? If you let me go out with my girlfriends and go do this, I'll let you have some tonight. And you're like, no, I'm straight up. I've heard it.
No way.
Come on.
I have never.
Okay, well, even worse than that. Like, we'll do even specific,
Oh, I thought he
certain
said the P
acts.
word. I was like, oh God, I got scared.
No, we'll do freaking whatever if you let me go and do whatever I'm going to do with or whatever.
I have.
I'm not saying
never-
going out and messing around. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying,
no.
Hey, if you let,
No,
hey,
I know. We
got
know what
something
you're
going
saying.
on, and yeah, they're using it. Well, what do you think they're doing with it as a tool anyway?
Okay, well, that right there is dead wrong.
See, and I'm not talking about that because that is wrong
I'm
in
just-
general,
I'm
and that's the
just-
whole issue.
Well,
like,
it's not far away from it. Once you're using it as a manipulation and as a tool,
But-
it's how
well,
far are you going to go with that?
Again, we're not going back to the basics. People have lost their connection with sex.
well, I'm talking more of like my friends who have gone 6 months without sex.
Yeah,
God.
I've
And
had
they're
that
And they're
happen.
married?
And so I have a few friends that have gone, and I asked, like, well, when was the last time? And he was like, I don't even remember. And she doesn't cheat. He doesn't cheat. At least I don't think they do. Like, I don't know if he would tell me, but it didn't sound like he did. But he said, like, I love her. She cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the kids, she has a job, she does all this stuff. But she's hormonal and she's menopause, and she
Well, yeah.
doesn't.
See,
Yeah.
so
And-
then
But
that's
my thing is, don't you figure it out?
That's what I mean. Then she needs, sorry, not to be mean. I know everybody's going to probably have a heart attack. But as a woman, I'm 50. Okay. So I'm going through my things too. But I am taking care of my body to make sure that,
It's not 6 months.
yes.
Well, I'm not letting my dog leave the house hungry. I have that.
no,
My cousin taught me that.
absolutely not.
Like, you don't, because especially if you haven't, if
Well, it
you've gone
depends on
6
what kind
months,
of dog it is.
if you've gone 6 months or a year, and I'm not saying that this is okay, but that woman's not worried. Like, okay, I'm not feeding you, right? I'm not feeding you sexually. You're not feeding my soul. At any moment, somebody else can just
jump in.
Jump in. On her
100%,
part or
'cause
his part.
Right. Because now you've opened a door.
Yes.
Because there's no communication there. And like goes back to what Tom's saying. We've talked about that too, about how a woman should keep up with herself. That's part of it. Sorry to say.
Because they are visual. And you just
Yes.
said it. The men is
Right. And so if you're not making those extra efforts, if homegirl downstairs is not acting right or something's going, she's sad, you better do something about that.
Yeah.
Okay. And get her happy. Okay. Because
But do
then
you think it's a Latina thing? Because a lot of the women that I've talked to, and I've looked at every different culture as much as I could, we are passionate people.
oh, yes.
We fight passionately,
Yes.
right? We raise our kids with all this passion. We love our men with all these passion. So I am not going to be with somebody. Again, I haven't been married for 10 years, but I'm not going to let somebody else take care of my man.
Yeah, no. You
Like,
absolutely
I
not.
would suck it up, Buttercup. I would hope I would. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there,
Yeah,
but
when
we're passionate.
when
Like,
anger comes in and you become angry at each
Then
other,
you have
then
angry
basically
sex.
say, you basically say fuck you, and it's back and forth.
Yeah,
I don't
you're a
give fuck
bitch,
then.
you're
I don't give a
this,
fuck,
I'm
I
the-
ain't
I'm
fucking
taking
either.
my
And
ring
then now
off,
you're-
I'm going
now you're
downstairs.
thinking
Yeah.
different.
damn.
Yeah,
So
all,
and
yeah.
people will do people will go crazy shit because of anger.
Yes.
Motherfucker will just kill a motherfucker, really, just because of anger, right?
But-
so anger will take you some fucked up places.
Yeah.
And I read in the Bible, it's like the angry, being angry was a sin. I was like, well, it's kind of not even that big.
Well,
a deal.
because it's
But it is.
fear-based.
It's a
It
huge
is.
deal.
Yes,
And I
because
didn't
it's
realize it
fear-based.
because it happened to me where
Yeah.
I used anger and it, fucked up my marriage because that same kind of shit happened. Oh, you don't
Right.
want to do this? Oh, you don't want to do, oh, you don't want to work out with me? Oh, you don't want to take care of you? Oh, you don't want to do this and that? Well, then, well, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. Oh, okay.
It's
All right, well, then
fear-based.
fuck
It's
you. Then I'm going to do
fear-based.
da-da-da, right? And so you're going back and forth, And
Like we were just talking about that, like my son has that issue, and it's like it's all fear-based. It comes from a fear of something else, but it shows up as anger,
sure.
right?
Yeah. And do you think you lose the chemistry
Yes.
the more you guys like start
Yes.
to nitpick and
Yes.
yell and scream? And so
Yes.
it's going to be harder to get that chemistry to come back into the bedroom, right? To come back and get it going again because you guys have said something.
But if you
sometimes-
just never even based it on the bedroom, you got to base it on just each other, how you're going to treat each other, how you're going to interact, what you're going to do, how you're going to look out for them, what you're, hey, how are they going through? What's their,
Yeah.
like you're always looking for their best interest. If you're looking for their best
Absolutely.
interest all the time, then those things are going to become in line. If I'm looking out for
Yes.
her and she's looking out, I'm like,
Yes.
man,
Yes.
maybe just without me saying it, she knows that
She
this
already
is my
knows.
meal that I
Bam,
that I
bam,
love.
bam. Yes.
Today she just had it there when I came home. You see a couple of things, you're like, man, she went out of her way. She went and got that stuff. So then now, okay, well, then hey, let me give you a-
when it's
br-
genuine.
yeah.
When it's genuinely happy. Again, when I'm in my feminine energy, all of that sexual energy exudes from me.
Well, my grandpa, before he passed away till his dying day, was smacking my grandma on the
That's
ass.
right.
And
That's right.
I remember she'd say, Rudolph. And he's like, they know how they got here. And I'd be like, oh God, oh dear God. They're still like, but whether they still were or not, he was still in love with his wife. 6 kids later, they buried a child, right? Like went through hell and back. They went through a lot of stuff, but he was still in love with his
That's
wife.
right. That's how it should be.
My grandparents in Mexico, I would catch them holding hands. Or if my grandpa was
Yes.
in a wheelchair and my grandma would come up. And I thought, so to me, I've always had this vision of like, once you meet that person, the sex never ends. But the more and more I talk to people, it seems like that's the first thing that stops in the marriage.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're never satisfied anymore. We're not grateful. We're not satisfied with anything that we got. We're always looking at what we're missing, what he didn't do. Oh, he did these 8 things, but he forgot to do these 2, and pointing out the 2 and pointing out, and we're always thinking about looking at what others people's got, trying to compare, and what we're missing.
Again,
and
why
we're
I don't have social
we're-
media.
we're
Do you
not-
think
we're not grateful?
that-
We're not.
No,
Men-
We
because
expect.
you
Yes.
expect.
We
And there's no
expect.
more connection.
Well, I was
right?
gonna
We're
say-
entitled. He should be doing that. He
Well,
should.
that's where social
she
media
should.
Yes.
Why
messes it
doesn't
up.
she freaking da-da-da, right?
Yes. And we're missing that soulful connection.
But do you
Because that
think
should
that
be there.
with the social media thing, let's say like if I started to date somebody and I went on his social media page and I went to go see like who he follows and stuff, and you're following a bunch of big booty hoes, I'm not a big booty hoe. Like
Right.
I don't have like a size.
Again, men are visual.
So I would feel like it would already kind of take me away sexually because like that's not what I like. I mean, that's not what I look like.
Right.
That's what you
So is
obviously
that what
like.
you want?
And
But-
then if he
I'm not that.
insinuates things in front of me sexually about if he says things about other
oh
women
yeah,
or something,
that will
women
yes.
kind of coward like, okay,
Right.
they come back, right? Where, oh, I just made a comment. It wasn't a big deal. But yeah, but that's not how we are, right? You guys are visual. You see something, you say something. And that takes us a step back even further because we want to be your be all, end all, in and out of the bedroom. We want to be your queen. We want to be up here. But the minute there's any innuendo of another woman, even if it's a fake woman on social media,
Because didn't we talk about that?
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. I don't want to hear. I don't
Because
wanna
it's
do
just-
that. I don't want to be. And I've seen the guys do it, and I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
Don't
like we
make-
all have, I think, as human beings,
Yeah,
men
I'm
or
not-
women, we all have like little fantasy things, right?
Paul Walker.
And yeah, and you, but hey, guess what? That's not who you end up with.
oh, no.
No, so I mean, that little fantasy might stay there here and there, but
But I
it
don't-
has
but
to
to
be
I don't
hear that,
but
like,
it has,
because I'm not going to do it to my woman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell her none of that.
Would you
like,
check out a woman in front of her?
Fuck no.
Would you make a comment about another woman?
No.
what if
And
she did?
Well, no. So
Then see, that's why I don't do it though.
Okay, but
So
if
I
she
don't-
did, you would be okay with that. Like, say you guys are out,
And she
right?
made a comment on a man.
No,
Oh, Tom would lose
no,
his shit.
no,
I was going to say.
Like,
what?
okay.
Don't you know this answer already?
So, like, I just want someone like we're hanging out and I'm like, dang, did you see that booty over there? I
That
want
girl's
my booty
butt
like
or
that.
something.
Well, we
Like,
were out
can
to
we be
dinner.
like that?
We were
Is
at
that
dinner
okay?
for his birthday, and
If the girl said, go ahead.
him and Marlene were doing something, and I saw the girl first. She was hot, right?
Right.
Nothing. She didn't have a big ass. She didn't have fake. Nothing. She just was an exquisite woman.
Okay.
And so I saw her, and she was coming right in front of Tom's view, and I was like, "Oh, he about to look at her." So I looked at Tom like this the whole time. His eyes never left Marlene. He didn't even see the girl. Didn't even pay attention to the girl. Two of his friends did though, because their necks about broke. But I was like, "Wow, like that's awesome." Because if I was Marlene and he did look, we don't look like that girl, right? Like she just
No.
happens to be an amazingly beautiful woman that walked by. There's a part of me that's like, okay, then I'm not pretty enough, right? And it's not that I'm insecure. It's not that at all, but that takes that away. Like,
I don't think
It's
there's
not
anything
us.
wrong with that. I don't mind that because you're a
well,
human
it's the
being.
same.
You're not
Hey, if
dead.
my
hell
girl-
no.
I don't
look at a
want
woman
you-
in front of me and we're fighting.
No, I'm not
My girl was
saying-
gonna look and this fucking big old butt tall or whatever, and was like, ooh, and
No,
look at him up and down.
no. I'm not saying like that. Like not disgusting. Like break your fucking neck.
Not
no,
even
that's
a little
not.
bit.
But if you can,
Not even a little. Not breaking. Not nothing.
I don't have an issue with that.
I
Like
think
Oh,
if
you're a
that's
we're,
good.
human
if we're
being.
no, if I'm with you and we're walking down the street and I'm with my girlfriend and we're talking and laughing and some cute guy walks by and we're like, oh my God, you see that guy? That's one thing. But if I'm intimate with you and we have this connection, I want my babe to have I want to be all his attention. I don't want him to look somewhere else. So if we're married, and I would hope that I'm married in the next 2 years, that for the next 10 years, that's my person, that I'm all into him. I don't want to tell him no. I hope to God I don't tell him no, because I think in the back of my head, if our chemistry at this point is amazing to the point that we got married and now I say no, then like you said earlier, something's definitely gone wrong. Or what's the point in being like with my partner?
I just don't have a problem with that. Like, why can't we both comment on a beautiful person? What's wrong with that? We're not
You
dead.
can't- I think I would in it, like if it was something that it was like all the girls that like that.
You could, and you got to be with somebody else that's okay, just like you
Right.
are with it.
Yeah,
And
like
me,
if I
I'm
would have
not,
said,
and I
"Dang,
better be with
she's
somebody
beautiful,"
that's not going to say
Yeah.
it.
Like,
you know,
yeah.
I got to have somebody in line with, because I'm not going to.
because I'll see a
like
guy
it.
and I'll be like, "Dang, he's pretty." Like, but it's not.
I don't
meant
think your
that
guy's
way.
gonna also say, "Yeah, babe, he's pretty."
Well,
I think that
no.
guy, if he's saying another
Because
guy's
I'm
pretty,
very verbal. So like I remember I was at work one day and I saw this guy, he's a mechanic, and I was like, dang. And I just looked at him, I go, "You are absolutely gorgeous." And I said, "I'm not hitting on you, but damn."
So I'll do that to a woman when I see women that I think
Yeah,
are
like,
beautiful.
there's
but
nothing
I'm
wrong
not doing
with
that
that.
to a guy, because I always feel that once you do that, that today's like men take that for more.
Well,
than
that's
what
why
it
I
is.
said I'm not hitting on you. I just
Yeah, but that might have been a one liner.
think-
I'm not hitting on you, but you're
I
I'm
think
not.
you
gorgeous.
could do that if you're single. I could say that to a girl if hey, I'm not hitting on
or you have
but
beautiful
you're-
eyes or
You're
something.
in great shape or something like that.
So
but,
what if I
but I'm not doing
commented,
that when I'm
Is
with
that
a girl.
a double standard? Because
What?
what if I did that to a girl?
That's okay.
But
See?
but double standards are okay. I'm a big believer in double.
Yeah,
standards.
because what if I see a girl and I'm like, "Dang, you are super pretty." That's okay.
but you're not hitting on her.
And I wasn't hitting on the guy.
But a guy, it's different. A guy will take it as you are. And a guy, like you've opened that door. So now let's say you ran into him at the store a week or two later.
Mm.
And he's going to be like, "Oh, what's up? Remember you told me I was gorgeous? Can I have your number?" Then
Hey,
what?
dumb shit. I was giving you a compliment. Okay. Just like guys give girls compliments, I give people compliments. That's just how I am.
I think the compliments, that's another thing. Like you can't whistle at someone down the street.
No,
You can't do the
like a
whole
genuine
like, remember that?
compliment. Like, "You look nice today." "Oh, your hair looks really good." Or oh,
But we don't live in a
I
time
think
of
that
that
opens
anymore.
up a door.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the minute, you
well,
you
we need
can't
to bring
open-
back compliments and people stop
But I
acting
don't.
stupid.
Single
if you're,
people
but
can bring
yes, I was
compliments.
going to just say, if you're
All you
married,
single people go ahead and
if
do it.
you're married,
People
whether
that are-
you see a handsome man or not, it's not my place to tell him. One, I don't know if he's married and how his wife would feel about it. And two, just I could see him and admire it and keep walking. I don't need to acknowledge it.
No,
don't
I
need
don't
him to.
always, but if I actually feel like I'm in the mood, I'll tell somebody that they look great.
Well, what kind of mood are you in?
I'm in a good mood. I'm not feeling anything though.
Is it because you're single and he's a good looking man? And hey, I just thought I'd let you know you're cute. Like,
that's not me.
I'm just asking.
That's not me. I just genuinely give people compliments. If I think they look nice or somebody's hair looks great, I'm like, hey, did you just cut your hair? It looks good. Oh, you shaved today.
So you notice all that?
I notice everything.
See, I notice absolutely. Grandma K can paint the colors in her house, all the walls, and I'll walk in for 20 minutes and you didn't even notice I paint the colors on my walls. I said, I mind my business, stay in my lane.
No, see, and look, here's the thing.
Mhm.
There are people that understand that. Like my bread man. Shout out, Chris. My bread man. He makes, remember I told you, he makes homemade bread, right? And so he brings me bread. He's got a girlfriend. And he'll bring me the bread and I appreciate it. And I'm like, you're the
But it's different. He's selling bread.
Right. He's not selling it.
Oh, he makes you bread?
Yes, he makes me bread because he knows I'm a fat ass.
He bakes bread. Does he bake other people bread? Is it something he loves to do, or is he just baking your bread?
Me, because I want it. Because he told me he was making it. I said, I'm going to need me a loaf. And he was like, for real?
There is so much sexual innuendo in that.
And how many times does he bake you this bread?
It's pretty often if we work together, right? And so
And his wife's cool with him
Yeah.
baking you bread?
Yeah.
Have you met the wife?
No, I haven't met her, but she knows about me. So he's like, he goes,
I'm
just
so
love
right now.
He's like, I love,
Oh.
this is the conversation we had. He's like, I love your fucking energy. Your energy is so
See, that's
awesome.
wrong.
And he's like, and he's like, you make people feel comfortable. And he's like, I love your energy and I appreciate your energy.
So this is what's going on in marriages and relationships and single things that should not be happening. He's with a girl. He should not be telling another woman things that he loves about her. If my man told another woman, I love your energy, bitch, be with that girl then and her energy. You could kiss my brown ass.
You gotta set some boundaries.
Yeah,
man.
that's not okay.
For me, I'm gonna set a boundary, and you ain't telling nobody, no guy that he's fucking. Oh, you're a handsome guy.
I think he's awesome.
You're really fucking
he's an
good-looking
awesome
man.
guy.
You
He's
can
just
think
a
Well, go ahead
genuine
and go out and try to be with
because
that
you're
man.
single.
Fuck out of here.
Well, let me ask this. Is it because he thinks you're a lesbian?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's not
But then
take
we've
that out of the
also had
equation.
that conversation too, to where if I was, because I asked him, well, so if I wasn't, would you still bring me bread? And he's like, for sure, I'd still bring you bread.
And
He's
I
like,
try to be with your bread.
and he's like, one has nothing to do with the other. I just genuinely like
We've had
you as
this
a
conversation
person.
though before. Men, even in a marriage, men don't do anything for free. There's very few times in a marriage, babe, I did the roof. Babe, I took the trash out. Babe, I gave the dog a bath. Babe,
I mean,
want to go in the bedroom?
No,
like,
That's what I'm saying. Like even in
people
a marriage,
know at work,
everybody
like I
wants to
love
be
food.
rewarded.
So I have multiple people bringing me food all the time, just because I like to eat.
So
like
let me tell you
my
a quick
partner's wife sent me a whole thing of pasta today.
because
and
she
she
thinks
kno-
you're a lesbian and you're safe.
No,
And it's
Sure.
the wife that brought it, not
I've
him.
already met her. We've already had a conversation. I was at their wedding. She knows the deal.
So when I was a casual back in 1998,
Hmm.
somebody always brought me candy because he would always say, what kind of candy you like? Because I was always eating candy.
Yeah.
We have a 24-year-old child now. He wasn't bringing me candy to be nice to me like I thought all those years. So candy went to, oh, let me buy you lunch on our break. Okay, buy me lunch. We now have a 24-year-old child. So at some point, that man
Ew.
was looking for something, and I didn't realize that that's what he was trying to.
Okay, but that's up to
So-
you, though. That was either yes, you take
But
it, or
men
no, you don't.
But men are not just going to bring you bread because,
That's my boy.
Is cool.
That's my boy.
I have a lot of boys too. No, I shouldn't say that. I have 4 guys that I was that are my well now 5 with Tom.
So Tom
But
does
there's-
nothing
but there's-
nice for you.
But there's
That is-
boundaries that are placed.
Right. So what? Why wouldn't there be a
But
boundary?
if he was going to bring me a loaf of bread, I would be like, so you just made me a loaf of bread, Tom, out of nowhere?
No other loaves for nobody
Yeah,
else. Just
I'd
a
be
loaf.
like-
he makes first
Okay.
some at home and then he'll bring it.
I'd probably call my sister like, why is Tom bringing me bread?
Yes, but if he comes to your house and picks up that damn rat, that's not You guys.
Well,
ain't
that
cool?
was a panic mode too. That was a little different.
Okay. You could have called
hold on.
anybody else.
He
Does
didn't
that mean something?
He didn't have a girlfriend at the time. When the second rat came, I didn't call Tom because he does have Marlene. And I wasn't going to cross that boundary. So I called my sister dad, which is my dad, and like, Dad, there's a rat in the back. Come get it.
Yeah.
So there's
But
those
you
boundaries.
guys are cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, me and Solomon are cool. If I tell him and I walk in and what, Solomon, we're going to get down and dirty because I told you you look nice today.
He's like, well, we could.
I'm sort of thinking about that.
I think
I think there's a loss in society of being able to be genuine with
No.
people without people thinking other things.
I think that society has created that where people think it's okay.
I think that people
Back
think
in
a lot of
1950s.
crazy shit's okay, and they're even down
Yes.
to do swinging and
Yes.
shit. So just because
Yes.
this one, oh, it's fine. You
Yes.
can tell that lady whatever. Because you know what? I was checking her out too.
Yes.
Can you bring her home for
Yes.
both of us?
Yes.
Like there's all kinds of weird shit. So people like are out there fucking to lunch. So just
And-
Oh,
'cause
I've had
somebody
that
else
happen.
will allow this shit
I've had
to
that happen.
in
recently.
in 1950,
I'm not freaking.
a woman didn't tell a man walking down the road that, hey, you're a very handsome man. It didn't happen in 1950. It didn't happen in 1960. It probably started happening towards the 70s or 80s as women started to become more independent. When
Right.
you are a married woman and you live with this man and you're not married, but you've been with him for a longest period of time, you do not, I'm very old fashioned.
First,
Your eyes
you
are
don't
only
even
on
look
him.
at her twice. Then you're not like, and then checking this girl. Oh, you know what? You're really gorgeous. No, you should have. Like I just got to stay straight.
Okay,
You
so
know what I mean? I got to bring
my homie, my bestie Red, has been with me through a couple of
You just
relationships.
dropped his name.
Yeah, I did. So, because again, I go to his house. His wife knows me. He's been with me through multiple relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're cool as fuck.
Oh yeah.
But you don't think at any moment,
And so he
if
will
you
text
said, let's
me-
do this, he wouldn't do it? He's a man,
He's very much in love with his wife.
but he's still a man.
He's still a man, but no, I can tell you he wouldn't.
I don't think
Absolutely,
all men
because
would
I
do
know
that.
him well enough to know he would never do that.
Alina sounds like all
Well, I
men are
don't
just
think so.
I know she's so
uncontrollable
mean.
sex
She's such a
machines.
hater. No, what I'm saying is that there are
Man,
genuine,
Come on.
yeah, there are genuine people out there who actually just appreciate a friendship. He texted me for Thanksgiving and he was like, I'm grateful for our relationship.
I don't think that men, like in his thing, I don't think that, and I've told you this before, though. I've made it very clear already. We've had this. I don't think that you and Red should be friends. I don't think that, for me, my guy is not going to have a friend. You don't need a friend. I'm your best friend. My grandpa taught me that. And he is a man, not a woman. He made it clear because I asked him, and I've said it before on the podcast, like, you don't have any friends. He goes, I have a million friends. I was like, no, you don't. He said, my wife is my best friend and the
Right.
only friend I need. My kids, my grandkids, your grandma's sister's husbands, your grandma's nieces. My family are my friends. You don't look, and again, it was a different era, different time, right?
Right.
But he said, do you think that if I had a woman who was my friend, your grandma would be okay with that? And I was
His
like,
wife is
I think to what
absolutely
degree?
okay
I
with
think
me.
yeah. If they have it, but like if you're, you know,
I was there for Friendsgiving. I brought his wife a beautiful bouquet and I brought her some Crown Royal.
but again, it's
Like,
back to what Solomon
we're-
said. Is it because the term lesbian is attached to your head that all these women with these men are okay with it?
yeah, but what does that
Because if
mean?
you were,
That doesn't mean anything.
yes, because if I all of a sudden started working with Red and I had no interest in Red and just started hanging out with Red, his wife would be like, no, you're straight. Absolutely not. And
I
if
can't
you
say that,
became
'cause I don't
straight
know.
and all of a sudden got married to him or start dating men, let's just say,
Mhm.
I guarantee you to be like, pump the brakes a little bit.
Absolutely.
Not going to happen.
I doubt it.
Not going to happen. I just know if
depends
I
on how much they, they're hanging out all the freaking time, and
Yeah.
it's just
Now,
No,
crazy,
I
like,
mean, we're like,
you know.
in our work
because-
industry, we do work with a lot of men.
yeah.
Right.
So we do talk to them.
so it's,
But there's boundaries that have to be played. When I go home and I'm at home with my man, all these guys don't need to call me and say, hey, what's up, Chica? How's your night going? Absolutely not. My night is fine. I'll see you at work tomorrow. Like, you don't need to text me.
yeah, no, that's not happening. Like,
Someone made you bread.
yeah, someone made me bread, but you're just stuck on that thing. Like, that's up to me to take it a certain way, which I don't. And that's up to me. Right? So herein is always my issue. Okay. The person I'm dating, if you know me well enough, you will know my MO. I don't cheat. That's not my MO. I don't work like that ever. So if you know me well enough and you've gotten to know me, then you know I'm going to always make the right decision. I'm a big girl. I don't need you to police me. I don't need you to tell me anything because I don't give it away. So for that, that's what I always end up lacking is a confident person, which I kind of think I found confident enough to say, you got that. Not even tripping.
I think you're right. It takes a confident man, but there's also that sense of respect and
Yeah.
where I know that most men confident, I'm going to just say in the past, probably the most confident man I had ever was dated was my ex-fiance Ben. But being on the docks, working with all men, there was one time where he was like, that's we're not doing that. And that's all he said, literally. And I was like, oh.
Well, yeah,
Like-
no, because people do cross lines.
And so for me, I could have said, well, I'm a happy person. I say hi to everybody. I hug everybody. Like, you need to be confident in yourself. But then it would have hurt him. And that's one thing I never wanted
Sometimes
to do.
it's just the way things look, and it
Yes.
proceeds, and it's a disrespectful thing. So let's say his friends or whoever's around and sees, oh yeah, she's over there, and it looks bad to whether you're doing it or not.
And when I
shines a
had
bad light
yes.
on me, like, man, my girl's just so friendly out there with giving all these other guys hugs and doing all this stuff. Like, nah, like,
So
you need to.
I thought of it
refrain
this
from
way.
that shit.
If I'm wearing his ring, I said yes to him. He felt a certain way. I was like, done. Don't ever.
Well,
need to
that's
say it
different.
again.
If that person is like, no, I don't like this or that, but then it turns into a whole. Well, why are you talking to this person? Why are you talking to them? Because
And I would
I'm
say
at
this
work.
too. Even
And-
the most confident man gets cheated on too.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
give a
No
fuck how
one's saying
confident.
that.
Everyone's like, oh, you just got to be confident.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean, just confident? So, yeah,
But
'cause a confident motherfucker
nobody's
gets
saying
cheated
that.
on too.
Listen,
You know?
at the same time,
other people get cheated on.
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
I believe in God, clearly, right? And I've been down there long enough. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. I know when to say back off.
Yeah.
I know when to walk away from the conversation. I know who I'm not going to allow to touch me,
Mhm.
hug me, or otherwise.
But they could break your bread.
Yeah, I'm genuinely about
That's
people's
that.
energy, and I can feel somebody's horrible, nasty, disgusting energy, and I'll walk away from that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I have discernment. It's not like I hug everybody or I'm friendly like that with everybody because I'm not.
So if you were straight, you don't think nothing would change. You don't think that there wouldn't be a topic in that person's house or that his wife would feel a certain type of way that could then affect their marriage?
No,
Because a lot of women feel the same way, but sometimes they'll just be quiet because they're not very boisterous women and they'll just let it go and just suck it up, buttercup kind of thing, because I don't want to make my husband mad, but it bothers them inside. So you think it doesn't bother her, but you really don't know. She might just be like, well, that's just what my husband does and that's what he wants, so I got to put up with it. And Gina's his friend. And, but inside, like, I'm not that type of girl. I'm the type that's like,
no, no. Because he already knows. He's like, if she got a bad vibe, like, you wouldn't be here. Period.
because a lot of my married friends
yeah.
are absolutely not. Like, I could name them and they would be and call them and they'd be like, oh yeah, no, you were not having friends. You don't need to have friends. You're not baking somebody bread. You want to bake somebody bread, go bake my mom a piece of bread. Like,
That's
because
like-
to me, you're putting a lot of effort into that. Like, I cook and I bake and it's for love.
What if I told my girl, like, hey, oh yeah, she's just making me cookies.
Yeah, like,
Don't worry.
Like if I call
Don't worry,
Tom, yeah.
this girl just comes and brings
No,
me
like
cookies
me.
every day.
If I was
all
home-
the fucking time.
If I was home making cookies, right, and I called you out of nowhere and said, hey, I just baked like 2 dozen cookies, Tom, let me bring you a dozen. Marlene's gonna be like, why is Alina baking you cookies? Like,
right?
that wouldn't
Yeah, that
be
probably
okay.
wouldn't fly, right? Yeah, I just
She'd be
made
like-
you cookies. I didn't make nobody else cookies, but Tom, I made you a.
I love to bake,
2
so I
dozen
baked you
cookies for
cookies.
you. It's not like, hey, I made X amount of dozens of cookies and I brought them into work and then I gave them to this girl and to that guy and to whoever wanted cookies. No, I just made it.
Poor
I
Gina.
just made
She's
the
like,
bread
I
for
should have
you.
never brought up the bread
You
store.
guys are horrible.
because
There is
because I think in a marriage.
it's all fear based. What you guys are talking about.
Oh,
care.
absolutely
Fear is
not.
Yes.
real.
Well, I
I'm not
fear.
It is.
I fear if there's a female at work that brings my husband cookies, I fear he will have sex with her.
No,
I fear
absolutely not.
he will be attracted
I
to her.
feel
I
that-
fear she might be attracted to him.
No, if I am married, it has nothing to do with fear. You married me for a reason.
Yeah.
You want bread, I will bake the bread. I'm not worried or scared he's going to go sleep with somebody. He's going to go sleep with somebody no matter what.
But no.
But you have no business baking my husband bread. You have no business coming in every day and telling my husband, "Oh, you look cute today. Did you shave?" It has nothing to do with fear. The only person I fear is my sister. Even her I'm not really fear
But
of
when
anymore.
when
I don't
you
fear
feel
anything.
like
It's
oh
a
no,
sense of
oh no,
respect.
I'm protective too, and there is a sense I'm just not made that way. I am not intimidated by those things ever.
But it's not intimidation.
Because if I'm with you, like you said, and we are married,
Well, then
you know
then
better.
you need to tell him, instead of breaking me some bread, can you pay half my bills too? Because you're baking me some
no,
bread.
that's
come on,
going
homie.
too
Like,
far. Stop.
well, I'm just saying, if he's
if-
at home baking you bread,
He bakes bread and he brings me some because I enjoy it. And I share it with my family and he knows I share it with my family. There's nothing wrong with that. The man has never hit on me, never tried anything.
so if you got married to a man per se and not a lady, do you think your husband would be okay with men bringing you coffee at work, bringing you bread?
Breaking your bread.
breaking your bread. Que la chingado.
Breaking your
I'm waiting.
bread.
I've been trying to
Whoa.
I'm not even talking like that.
God.
I've been trying to avoid saying that this whole time.
Breaking
Bring-
your bread.
I'm waiting for somebody to use the word butter in here somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
bringing you bread.
Butter in your
Like, do you
bread.
think that he would be okay with that?
I don't know. I can't say
Would
that.
you be okay with if you were married to a man and not a woman, and some other woman was bringing him bread and other things all the time? You would be fine with that.
Yeah.
You would put that butter on that bread and eat it with him.
Sure would.
Well, then you're a better person.
Sure
than me. Then
would.
you were a better
Because
person.
look,
than me.
That's the problem. That's where the resentments come from. If we're married, if we're together, if I have to police you or even tell you, hey, that no, that's too much energy for me already.
Well, I got a whole lot
And
of
I don't
energy because
have
I'm
none of
Latina.
that.
I'm passionate, so I'm telling
I'm
my
done
future
with that.
husband now, I will whoop your ass. Bring
No,
home some
I'm
bread
done
from
with
some
that.
other woman.
Well,
I'm done
Gina,
with
can
that.
I ask a question? So let's say your husband wanted to go to the club every night with all his buddies. Would you let him go every night?
Well, no, not every night. That's
Why not
ridiculous.
though? Why not?
Because every night means you don't want to be at home.
Okay, so let's say it was three nights a week. Let's say it was once a week. Would you let him go to the club where it was just, VIP, girls dancing, all that stuff? Would you let him go to the club with his buddies?
No, that's different.
Now, why is it different though?
It's different because we're talking about food.
Gina,
Okay,
so is it really just the food for you?
Yes. I'm a fat ass. Like, it's about the food. I enjoy food. Do you know how many people bring me food? My work partner, which is a guy, brings me food that his wife cooks on a regular basis. He brings me breakfast every morning.
Well, I'm a fatty and I eat at work constantly.
That's the way to my heart. I mean, I don't
Right.
know. I just love food.
but nobody
I don't.
breaks me bread at home from home.
Do you see what I mean? Because that's a good point though, Solomon, because bread and then the whole club thing, that's two different things.
Well, you wouldn't do it because you think it's inappropriate. And that's what Alina's saying. She's
Yeah.
saying any man doing something for you.
For another woman.
Yeah,
and not doing
that's
it for his
inappropriate.
own.
That's
Yeah.
inappropriate. And
But
in
he
a
leaves
relationship.
bread at home and he eats his own bread at home. But I don't think it's inappropriate at all.
Well, that's why I say you're a better woman than me because
Yeah, no.
I'm like,
I mean, my ex would have literally, sat there while somebody actually was trying to hit on her. And I thought it was funny. I was like, hey, if she can take you, then she's better than me. That's the way I look at it. I've already spent too much energy.
but But your ex should have just shut that down.
She did
instantly.
shut it down.
Yeah, so
But she didn't
all.
know that we were,
Yeah.
she didn't know. It just happened in front of me.
Well, and I mean that the person hitting on her doesn't know that you're
No.
there or know that she's
No.
with them. So that's
then
a
after
common
that,
thing.
we still ended up partying and having a great time. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't like, oh, stay away from that bitch because she hit on you. Like, that's too much energy. I've already expelled too much energy on it. If I have to tell you those things, that's too much energy.
Well, no, there's certain things you don't have to tell. There's certain things that they just naturally know.
Yeah, because the person I'm with, I'm going to know, like, yeah, you listen, if all it takes is a loaf of bread, then there's a problem. Yeah,
but
you're
it
not for me.
starts with the loaf of bread and then it goes
Yeah,
to
and
something
but if
else.
that
That's it.
happens, I would rather that happen so that I know you're not for me. Because all that took was a couple of loaves of bread and a couple of compliments, and you ran your ass over there. Well, shit. Next.
But you're running compliments. So what if somebody comes to you thinking that you want more because you just said you're a big compliment person?
Yeah.
So what if
I've had that happen. Somebody overthinking, and I'm like, homie, tripping. Like, again, because I know when that person is going too far or when they're taking it somewhere else. That's why I know that I can't give compliments to everybody. It's only certain people that I will compliment.
Well, you ain't getting compliments from me, single or not.
Yeah, because I know that they're going to take it somewhere else. You already know that. You know what I mean?
So
And
then is it safe to say that in the relationship, because you were married and you were with your ex for 10 years,
Mhm.
that you didn't use sex as a weapon or you didn't say no or
No.
it was because it's different with two girls, right? Because
Yeah. We never had a problem in
you're
that
more
area,
emotional.
and it didn't really, it never stopped. The fighting continued, but the sex was still going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that wasn't an issue for me. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, that's too much energy.
All the
spent for
women
me.
that I've asked, I thought because I had asked the question
I asked that too.
for a woman to tell a man in a marriage or a long-term relationship no to sex, and I don't mean no every so often, but just completely stopped having sex, right? What is equivalent for a man to say no to a woman? And every woman said when he no longer gives me the compliments, he's no longer paying attention to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
He's no longer holding
Like
my
dating
hand.
her, yeah,
Right.
doing
You
all
know,
the
like,
soft
right.
things.
I need him to know that I'm still here with him. And one person said, when we're on the couch watching a movie, don't start your hand here and now it's there. Now you want sex. And you think, oh, well, I rubbed your back for 2 minutes and I gave you that attention. And she's like, no, the attention doesn't start for 2 minutes on the couch. The attention should, like you said, started this morning when we woke up.
Right.
If you already had an agenda
Yeah,
in your
because
head.
we're feeling.
But you would think that they say two things. To please a man, you feed him and you sleep with him, right?
Right.
Those are the two. That's what they say.
And give them peace.
Men are easy, right?
Yeah.
But then talking to all these women, it sounds so easy, right? We just want to be that little giddy girl. We just want the attention
Yeah.
and the hugs and the kisses.
Yeah.
And the beautiful. So you think
You want to
it's
be
so
in your
easy.
feminine energy.
But
But if it's that easy, why is it not happening?
so they're basically saying their love language is you do this, and the man saying if you love me, you'll give.
You'll
me
do
sex.
this. Yeah.
You're not doing that. So you're
Right.
like, I'm not speaking your love language, but I want you to speak mine.
Right.
What
That's
kind of
not-
shit is that?
that's
I
not
don't
fair.
feel that you love me if you don't want me touching you.
Yes.
What the fuck?
100%.
How the fuck do you I think you
100%.
love me, and you're not even letting me like
I need a smack
touch
on the
you,
ass
right?
while I'm cooking.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just like, again, it goes back to I'm worried about what I think and what it's all about me. I'm not thinking about the other person. Well, most people like doing the same shit. Like,
Well, then it also depends too. If you haven't had that experience, then that's what it feels like. If you haven't genuinely been with someone who actually gives two shits about your day and wants you to feel wanted, whether you're a man or a woman, that's a whole other situation if you haven't had that
but women
experience
are
yet.
always that, right? Women are always needing that soft, that nurturing. How was their day? What's going on?
You need to know when to be my boss and when to be my baby.
But so what I'm saying is, again, women are always that, right? It's very common. But how often is that reversed to the man?
Yeah.
Right.
What's going on in your world? Like,
Yes,
what's
that's
going
why.
on? How are you feeling? babe?
Exactly.
Like, What have you been dealing with? Where's your head
Do you
at? How are
think
you
that that part of what
you
you're
okay?
saying right now also affects the man in the bedroom when
Yeah.
he's overwhelmed and he doesn't feel
Because his
necessarily-
safe place should be home.
Well, it probably won't affect him in the bedroom because he'll probably get out whatever.
Because it's like
aggressions or have
pizza.
therapy,
Even when
right?
it's
That's
bad,
his
it's
therapy
good.
time, right? But
Let's just handle.
He's not going to be that
Not the other
loving
part.
guy. He's
Yeah,
not
that
gonna do
that part.
No.
Well, which is why I keep saying, like, the last couple podcasts ago when we were sitting here and I was like, Tom, who did it? Tell me who did it. Like, that's what you need to do.
I think that listening to like everybody I've talked to and then like what women were trying to say without saying it is like men want sex and women want to make love. That old saying, right?
No.
Like
I don't think so.
No.
And
No.
I think
you
they
don't?
I think
Sometimes.
I think
No,
they
not
want
what I'm saying.
both.
No. Correct. They do want both, and there needs to be both. But I think listening to everybody, it's sometimes when you're married and and I'm talking to all these married women, is they forget, hey, we need this too.
Because you're in a rut now.
Our intimacy is important to us, right? The
Right.
touching, the kissing, the loving. It's not let me just hurry up and take care
But
of
again,
you.
if there's no communication, because I've been in situations where I'm like, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
If I get quiet and I stop talking and I stop responding,
well, that's most women.
we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't care and if you're not seeing it, if you want to keep staying on this merry-go-round, eventually it's going to stop and we're just going to crash.
And most men don't know when you say that, when you throw out that life jacket and you're like, hey, we're in trouble, they don't know how to fix it. They don't know what to do. And it's harder for men, I think, when you do that. Not only do you have to throw the life jacket out, you got to kind of spell it out for them. Like, hey, we need to
Right.
do this, and
I'm
this.
throwing it out there. Okay.
But not expect them to just
No,
this,
no,
this, and
no.
this, and
That's
be
not what I'm
working on
saying.
I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm saying towards other thing. We've already had this other conversation, and I see the women or what's happening. It's like, wait a minute, like hey, you need to go deal with this. You got issues. You got to go to counseling. You got to do this, and this in order to make it work for us. Wait a minute.
No, it
what
takes
part of
two.
the responsibility of you? Like where
takes
you
two.
got to work this on.
No, it
and make
takes two.
work, right?
Again, that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
if you haven't had that experience yet, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Maybe that's just how you feel right now because you haven't had that experience yet
Mm-hmm.
to where that person is like, what did I contribute to this fucking, mess that we have in front of us? It takes two. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that in my relationships, like it was all that person's fault.
It's not always 50-50.
No,
It's
it's
not always
30,
50,
There's
80,
a lot of
70.
conversations,
but-
you're trying to get into a deep conversation, or you want to whatever, or you have a disagreement. The wall, as you start to dialogue, you start to tell them, you start to create a picture to see. I want them to see it from the left side now. I wanted a bird's eye view. I want them to see it from another angle because they're not understanding it. And so you're trying to create but they're already, no. Look, you haven't even heard everything out I had to say
Right,
yet.
because
First, slow down
slow
and
down.
absorb what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't wall it up and already think what you're going to respond back 10 minutes ago.
Right.
And all you're thinking about is over your head. What I'm going to say, what I
I'm
want to
gonna say,
respond
what
to.
I'm gonna
and
say.
everything that he's going on, you're just toning it all out, right? Because that's what happens in a lot of arguments.
well,
right?
because you have a decision.
You're already like,
Yes.
So,
You've already made that
but had
decision.
you really take it in, you're like, oh shit. You know what? I could see why you see it like that now, right?
Yeah.
Because you just painted this picture for me from a whole nother side and I didn't see it. I couldn't understand it. But now I can kind of understand. I don't maybe fully agree 100%.
Right,
with
you don't have to.
But I understand why you're seeing it like that
Right.
now. Then together you guys can work on it.
Right.
But if you right away, and I could feel it in the conversation when I have conversations, the wall, right away. And it's like, you know what? I don't even want to talk no more.
Yeah.
I don't even want to discuss nothing with you no more because you already shut me down. You've already shut me down because you're locked into what you're thinking and you're not open. And nobody has this constructive because, hey, let me break it down for you. And you know what?
So that
Hey,
you understand and you're speaking
And
my
hey,
language.
you know what? You're right, man. I do kind of do that. Or it is like, and being any kind of construction and take responsibility saying, you know what? I contributed a little bit to that. I see where I contributed to it. No, nobody nowadays, they all say, oh, I've been working on myself. Working on yourself, you can't even take constructive criticism. Bullshit. You ain't working on yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you really were working on yourself, you'd want to hear it from the people around you, just like a true friend, right?
Yeah.
Will tell you Or you fucking up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a
Absolutely.
real one because now you're like, damn, you know what? I do need to work on that. That is the truth. But the truth is, all these people want to surround themselves about a bunch of yes people that just tell them what they want to hear and play flattery games, right? Oh yeah, you're right. You
Which
should
is,
never let them talk to
again,
you like that.
exactly.
Fuck that. No, tell
Exactly.
the girl that no, she was wrong.
Yeah.
You girlfriend, tell her that, hey, maybe she should have looked at
So
it.
I have told my friends that are married.
Alina has told me plenty of times.
Oh yeah, some people hate me because of that. But anyways, I tell them like you need to give your husband sex. At the end of the day, even if he's messing up, like you need to. Once you stop that, it creates even bigger problems, right? That little intimacy that you have left, and men again are visual. So you go 6 months, 8 months without giving your husband sex.
Oh, you're
at some point.
yeah.
Not that he's a cheater, not that he's a bad guy. He's so, oh, that girl's cute. Oh God, don't do that. I'm
He's
married.
a freaking human being.
Yes. And so even though you don't want to,
They'll start to think about divorce.
you
Yeah.
need, yes. And that's not good.
And they'll
So-
say, hey, because then now they're looking at this girl might appreciate me. This girl
Yes.
might think that,
but a lot of
whatever.
women are now thinking, I don't need him. I have a job. I could do it without
That's the
him.
problem.
You could take the kids every other
That's
weekend,
the
right?
problem.
But no, like that. And for me, I feel like that's the devil. You're
Oh,
letting
yeah.
the devil in. You're
Yeah.
letting the
Right,
devil
because
say,
you have to give up the reins. I'm done right now. I want to give up the reins. I'm over it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the man no more. I don't want to have to be the one. I just don't. I'm ready to give up the reins. I understand submission. I just haven't found somebody that I feel safe enough to submit to,
yeah.
right? So that becomes a problem
But
too.
we do that a lot, right? We'll give out a little bit, and then we want to take it back, even with God. We
Oh,
say
yeah.
Oh
always,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
give it to God, right? We all of us Christians, just give it. Why don't you just let it go and just give it to God? You will for a minute or a day, and then all of a sudden some other, and it's right back. And you do that in the relationships, the same thing. Well, he kind of did good on this last one, but this one I don't know. He kind of like he's on shaky territory here,
Yeah.
and give it back to me. I don't know.
Well,
if he's
that's
gonna do a
because
good
you're
enough
not
job with
looking
it.
at that person. You have to remember we're all unfinished products.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
Everyone's going to have
perfect.
their flaws, especially the older we get. And that's what I tell my friends that have been married for a long period of time. Like Tom and I said that like he wishes sometimes now, like not wishes would be the wrong word. Like now he sees what he could have changed or
Right.
fixed. Or
Sure.
something,
That's
right?
what we were
Sure,
just
So,
saying.
and that's what I
Yes.
tell some of my friends that
Fuck,
have been
man.
married. Like, hey, you think, oh, I could be single. Oh, I could get a
Oh,
divorce.
no,
I
no.
have to-
That
you
shit's
have
not
no.
funny.
Well, the biggest thing is you're going to have to share your kids with either another man or another woman now,
Yep.
right? And you're going to share holidays, right?
Yep.
And at first, you're probably thinking, I could do it. Then you have that grandbaby, right?
Yep.
And here comes the step grandma.
Yep.
And now you got to share it. And you're watching another woman, and
Yep.
she's innocent, right? She didn't do nothing.
Whoa.
Urgency.
Oh. There's your phone too.
Mine
Everyone's
too,
phones
yeah.
are going off.
Jeez.
So you have to just click the thing. You have to realize when you get divorced because you didn't stay in and you didn't fix it, and you don't realize now all the repercussions that are coming with it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There's always a
Oh, my
domino
God.
effect to any decision you
And
make.
so I say to some of my girlfriends, just get in the bed. Just do what he needs. Start somewhere. But he, I get it. He is
Let that mess
he
go.
He is the one that messed up. And I don't mean cheating wise. I'm just saying he's the one that's given the most problems in the marriage, right? You're fed up, you're frustrated. I get it. I do. But don't stop that, because once you stop that,
There's no going
slowly
back.
pull it apart. It's
Yeah,
like
there's
that,
no going back.
It's like that sweater you have that's a beautiful sweater and it's all woven innocently. And once you pull that one little piece,
It's a crop top.
yes, it just starts pulling and pulling and pulling and falling apart.
Yeah. No, no,
Solomon's
no.
laughing.
Yeah, it's a crop top. Like once the sex stops, I've had that experience. Once the sex is done, it's done. It's done.
I would hope for a lot of people, like a lot of my guy friends that I talk to, and I tell them like,
Well, yeah.
well, why don't you try? Why don't you talk to them? And they say like, it's not even worth talking anymore.
Yeah.
They're tired, menopause.
You better
hormonal.
stop having
And
inappropriate
I'm like-
sex conversations
and
just
I'm
because you're
like-
single.
Well, the only reason was because of this topic. And I made it clear, like this topic, because that is a
Yeah, I asked a couple people too.
I have to ask people. And the funny thing is I got so much feedback, but nobody wants to come on and talk about it, right? Everyone's like,
Well, because a lot of people they're in relationships and then they're just like, oh,
Oh, I don't want
Yeah.
to
They
get
don't want
caught.
their
Or,
others to hear. That's why
and
they're
then
not
there's-
talking about it to them because they don't want to fight no more.
Again.
So they're just letting it go by because I don't know.
Exactly.
Fuck
But
it. I need some
again,
peace
we
in my
are
house,
so built up in this, little tiny glass house, and don't say that to me, or don't do that, or you're gonna do that. And,
hypersensitive.
Yeah. Like, what the heck? Knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off.
I can't say much because I've said it before. Like, I'm not married. I haven't lived with someone for. I've never lived with someone for over other than the one time I got married, we don't talk about. And I think that was 3 to 5 months or something.
Yes.
So I've literally I don't know, but what I do know is what it's like to be a single woman. I do know what it's like to share my child with somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Another woman. I do know what it's like to have to solely do everything in my own house. And I try to tell my friends, it seems really cool. It's not.
No.
It's not.
No. We're not meant to be
it's-
alone.
No. If you have a
We're
good
not.
wife or you have a good husband,
Make it work.
yes,
Make it work.
communicate.
Make it
They
work.
talk.
say that if they go back and talk to the people that got separated, that 75% of them said I probably could have made it work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
What happens is you get angry, you get this, your
Your ego's going up.
all that,
Yes.
right? Start
Hindsight
getting
is
away, and then
20/20,
you do
like,
your
it
thing.
happens.
That's exactly what happened. to
But
me.
that's why you take it, you learn from it, you capitalize off your pain.
hopefully you stay in
and
the marriage and learn from it
Yes.
then, and not
And you
just
learn
bounce
But
out.
if you
together.
don't,
before.
it's not necessarily you're a bad person. It just means maybe that person just really wasn't for you.
Well, I asked my grandpa, the same grandpa, you've always been in love with grandma? He's like, hell no. He goes, I would go to bed sometimes thinking of ways, how can I kill her and get away with it? But
Oh,
you wake up
gosh.
the next morning, you fall right back in love with her. You fall even more in love with her than you were before, and you make it work because divorce was never an option.
Right.
Back in there, right? And he says, nobody's
The
perfect.
minute
The
you
marriage isn't perfect. There's
Mention that word. You're
yes,
fucked.
and to him, it was like, okay, this woman's driving me crazy. Oh my God, right? But then wake up the next day and something happens and you look at her in a whole new light, right? They never stopped. They never gave up. And again, they buried a child,
But
and
it
that's a
takes two.
lot.
'Cause they,
It
yeah, 'cause they
takes
ma-
two
yeah, they made up.
people
But they
to be on that same wavelength. And that just isn't the case.
No, because
because of
everything's so
social media,
easily replaced.
We
today.
live in an instant gratification
Yeah.
world. Everything has to be right now.
Mhm.
Right now.
Well, even if you're dealing with the same problem and you're dealing with it forever and ever and ever, and you're frustrated and nothing's changed and it's been 20 years.
Right.
So it's not like it's
That's why I'm
not right
saying
there.
Well,
maybe
there-
that
what I'm
person
saying
just
is
isn't for you.
Yeah, there's sometimes that you do
no,
have
but
to
what
walk
I'm
away.
saying, yeah. So you're
When
dealing
there's
with that-
violence,
so you're dealing with that problem again. You're going, and then you're like, fuck, ain't nothing ever gonna change. I've been dealing with this for 20 years. I'm trying to right, and so you're frustrated. So then you basically say, well, you know what? I'd rather at least just have a new problem. And then I'll go with somebody else. And then, at least it'll be a new problem. Well, and that's not so
That
hot
new
later.
problem comes-
No. And then what
Yeah.
happens is you're like, man, at least I knew the old problem, even if it was for 20 years, right? I knew how to deal with it. I learned to kind of
see,
manage
but
around
then
it to a
that
point.
means that you
right?
walked into it and you weren't ready to walk into something else. That's what happened. It's because people forget they have to mourn that. Whether it's a good relationship or a bad, you still have to mourn it, or you're going to take that shit with you into the next one. And you have to know that you did all you could and you forgave yourself and you forgave that person, because then you take it into that and then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, yeah, this is a new problem, but this is bullshit.
But sometimes, even if you've mourned it, that new problem is a new person, their family. You're like now going into a whole new family, right? Now you're going to be around them and
Right.
their kids and because I think about that all the time. Whoever I date, that person's going to have to come around me and
Yeah.
my kids. How are our kids going to mesh? What happens when we have grandkids, whether it's me or he has grandkids? Where do we all fit in? Where I'd be like, maybe if now Seth was like 3, and I'm just saying this to say it. This is not what I ever think or want. If Marcus and I had tried and stayed together, it would be our grandkids, right?
Right.
It would be our house. It would be, we wouldn't have to do all
Right.
that. But that didn't happen. So now this is where we're at.
Right.
So now somebody like Tom, who was together with someone for 20 years and now he's divorced, now the whole new woman, her family, her grandkids, and now you got to mesh it all together,
Right.
right? He has 4 boys. She has 3 kids. Yeah, so she has 3 kids. That's 7 kids.
Yeah.
Plus grandkids. Sometimes, no matter it's not that he didn't mourn the old. It's just that's a
It's a
lot.
lot. It's a lot on your to deal with again, and now you're learning how to navigate through that. And now that's going to take time. It took you. You were there 20-something years, and now you're like, hey, this is you only been there a year and whatever, or a year and a half, or something like that. Man, you're like learning. You're going through.
It's the ride.
And everybody
Navigation
parents
of-
their kids
of that.
differently. So
well,
you
everybody,
have to,
yeah, that's always going to be some topic because now we're all blended families now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, enjoy the ride. Why are you worried about where you're going to end up? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't. Enjoy the ride. It's not necessarily a destination.
Well, yes and no, but at the same time, I'm not going to just date Tom, Dick, and Harry and let that ride
Well,
affect
no,
my kids'
absolutely.
lives.
Right.
No,
So
no,
for
that's
me,
not what I'm saying.
I'm like,
No. What I'm saying is if you think you're in the right place with the right person, enjoy the ride. Don't worry about the destination. Everything. What's the worst that's going to happen? My goodness. What's the worst that's going to happen? You don't make it. Okay.
yeah, but then I don't want to move on to the next one and try that, and then that didn't work. So now I moved
Enjoy
on to the next
ride.
one.
Keep
Now
on
I've joined
enjoying
the ride. No,
Enjoy the ride. 10 people later. Enjoy the ride.
Well, then,
Yeah.
I'm too
then
old
you,
for that.
if you have to keep enjoying the ride, there's something wrong with you.
I'm like, no, that's
Yeah.
not true because
No, that is the truth. Because if you're having to constantly, if you're saying that you get there and you're like, new this or whatever, then you there's something that you.
So
haven't
I'm a
fixed.
believer, which everybody hates, is we had this discussion at my friend's miss the other night, and everyone's like, oh, after 2 dates, Lena's gone. It's not that after 2 dates I'm gone, but after 2 dates, if you're like Solomon just said, if he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to a club this week with my friends and we're gonna get the VIP room, bye. I don't need that in my life. I don't need to bring that home to my
Well,
kids.
yeah, because you have an idea of your ideal, and there's some things that are deal breakers. Absolutely,
I have a-
100%.
I have a lot of deal breakers.
But I'm just not interested. Jesus Christ, I'm 50.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in, well, what's going to happen 6 months from now? Or I'm dating somebody and, well, when do I meet your kids? I don't really give 2 shits about that. I'm enjoying the ride because this is what it is.
But you would let somebody meet your kids.
If I felt that person was,
And then what happens if
Stand
it
up.
stops and then in 6 months later they meet another person?
well, I probably wouldn't do that. No.
Okay.
No, because I again, that's not my MO. I don't
Yeah.
work that way. So it's if I'm dating this person and I'm, I know, like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I have discernment. There's just who that material is, and who that material is not, and I can see that. Like, oh, you're for fun. Yeah, you'll never come to my house.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So no. And plus my kids are much older at this point.
You don't think that affects them as they're older?
No,
Nope.
It doesn't.
no.
So I would wonder if when my kids were younger, if I dated, as Gina says, to enjoy the ride, and it didn't work out in 6 months here, and they're younger, they don't care. But I think now that they're older and they understand and realize what a relationship is, if I kept dating and enjoying the ride and dating this guy here and dating that guy, I think they would be like, "What are you doing, lady?" Like,
No, it's the opposite
pick-
though.
so for me in my house, my kids wouldn't be okay with that. My kids would like pick somebody, settle down, your little old ass, and the reason they would say that is they are at the point now where they say, we want you to go on vacation. We want you to enjoy your life. We want you to settle down with this person.
Right.
We want to feel comfortable with this person where we know our mom is getting taken care of and loved and spoiled.
Oh, of course.
But if it's like, oh, well, I dated that guy and it didn't work out, so now I'm dating this guy and it didn't work out, they'd be like, what the hell? Like you said,
But-
probably like, what are you doing, mom? What's going on?
Again, that's your choice.
Yeah,
That's your choice.
yeah.
You don't have to date multiple people. You don't have to date every person that wants to date you. You don't have to.
Yeah, well, we know I don't. I'm pretty boring. But so let's close this up and go. So I guess everything's been answered. And the main thing was, or I don't even know if it was, do women or should women stop the sex in the marriage? You know what, Tom? I don't think I asked that. Like, you know, if you're married, like you and Marlene go and get married and in 2 years she just stops the sex, how do you feel about that? Like, and we got to say that we got to sum it up really quickly, but that I think would be a huge deal breaker, right? Because you guys started off a certain way and now just done.
Well, it would go back to, I'm sure there's times when you could both set that time apart to be what if she had menopause, right? And it's a couple months. Okay, that stops, whatever, just because of whatever. Or spiritually speaking, sometimes you could take a break of that because you guys are grounding yourself. So, you guys are both in agreement. Hey, we're gonna
Yeah.
for a month, for two, whatever, like that. But if it's just like 6 months, yeah, that's there's something definitely major wrong going on
Absolutely.
there.
And what
And
about the
what is
women
it
that
we're
feel
gonna do
that
to fix that?
what about the women that are just like, I'm just not doing it. That's it. Deal with it. And
Then you made a decision already.
Already.
To me, and that kind of like what broke my marriage.
Yeah.
Because not the sex part or whatever, but just telling me, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna do that. Hey, I want to work on such and such, and you're just telling me straight up, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. Oh, really? Then you told me the answer. Then when I make a decision based on what information you just gave me,
When I acted
don't get
accordingly.
mad. Now I took it that far
Right.
because you're trying. Basically, again, you're trying to manipulate me. This relationship's this. This is what I'm going to do, and you're going to accept it. And I'm going to set the parameters here, here, and here, and that's how it's going to be. You're telling me that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You're not working at it together with me.
No.
And the minute you do
You're just
that,
making demands.
you're manipulating.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
making
no,
demands, and
you're
you're
making demands
And you know what?
and
Then I make a
ultimatums.
decision, and now all of a sudden, oh fuck.
'Cause you
That
acted
motherfucker's
accordingly.
because I acted on it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you said, oh, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah,
All right,
no.
I'm going to act
Those
accordingly
are
now.
relationship killers
Don't
when
do
you do that
that,
anyway.
So at the end of the day, as much as Marlene wants you to date her, you also want Marlene to date you.
Sure.
And vice versa, the same for you, right? Whoever you're dating. Like, and I see that. I think that for me, good old Pablo, I would want to bake for him. I would want to cook for him, right? I want him to
Right.
come home to clean the house. But I would also want him to come in and say, I missed you today. Like,
Yeah.
how was your day? Like, as I'm cooking or getting his food ready or, something like that. Or him call me and say, hey,
But if they're
go ahead.
doing it too and they're working back with you, like give them
You're
some kind of love and reciprocate to be like,
Reciprocate.
hey, at least he came and did whatever.
Right.
At least he, put a little sticky on my mirror or something in
Yeah.
the morning with a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reciprocate.
I love you or something like that. And then, that be something instead of being like, well, that was kind of okay, but, and it's still acting like a bitch to him,
Yeah.
like, hey, that was nice. Thank you, honey, for at least doing that. Like, I think you got to work together with each other on that kind of stuff, right? So,
I think the thing is, it always goes back to, which was the original reason I started the podcast on, was like the men's mental health, right? We don't realize that men are just as emotional as
Oh,
us.
100%.
Meaning you guys we just look at men like,
It
okay,
just manifests differently.
yes, like, okay, he's a man. He doesn't need the I love yous and the hugs and the kisses but at the end of the day, he needs that just as much as we do.
They need reassurance.
yeah. Yeah, when she looks at you, back at you, and she wants you to touch her, and she's just like, "Man, you're the man." You're thinking like, "Oh yeah, all right." Like she loves me.
Yeah.
She loves me.
Yeah,
Touching her.
yeah.
But you're like, no.
You're like,
Oh, you're devastated. You're like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, man. You want to freaking put the covers over your face and not
Yeah.
look at me? Like kind of shit. And,
Yes.
then what? Like you're like, oh no. Like you're disgusted with me.
Yeah.
Like, you make me.
Do men
How
really,
the
does that
fuck-
really affect men? Because again, and I'm
What do you mean?
sorry, please forgive me for asking this, because I have worked on the waterfront since I was 23. So I've heard every manly thing you can think of.
right.
And a lot of
exactly.
it was not good. So I just feel like men are just, ugh. So does it affect you when a woman doesn't want to look at you or as all
Fucking
stuff like,
100%.
really?
Yeah.
Why would you not want to look at me? Like you looking at me and thinking, ew,
And I think
he's
it's because I
disgusting or
hear
he's
so much,
gross
I
or
see
he's-
hear so much crap that
whatever.
men talk, which I now have
If I
learned
did that to the
believe,
woman,
but we're
how the fuck-
different.
well, again, if I did that to her, you think shit would affect her? Like,
Oh,
no, I
yeah,
don't want to look
yeah.
at you. Put a blanket on your
Yeah.
face.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh hell no. You'd be like, hell no, right?
He said, put a blanket on your face.
And I'm beginning
Right?
to think that men talk just to talk. They try to act hard. They try to act like they don't care.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
men that we work with.
Oh, some of them.
Yeah.
A gang of people try to act like
So-
they're fucking, nothing bothers them.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, that girl, that da 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 da, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. No. You're right. That happens too.
Well, I really, really hope that more and more people actually communicate and talk, because I have, like I said, a lot of my friends that are going to listen
Man,
to
the
this.
devastation and destruction that you're going to leave behind with your kids and everybody that's around you. You have no idea. You think this is like you. I explain it like this: like I'm seeing this person up on the top of the hill, and that person's there already. That's me already going through that divorce, right? And I'm down here, but I'm looking up at the hill, thinking I know what he sees on the other side. Thinking I think what it's going to look like on the other side, but I have no clue until I'm up on that where he's at.
Right.
Then I can see it. So it's like you think it's going to be, and I'm telling you right now,
No, the grass
it
is not
fucking
greener on the other side. That's
Yeah,
not it.
it's so painful
That's
and
not it.
ugly. And if you can make it work, it is so much willing to try to make it work, because you're just going to rip everybody. It's like, again, we get selfish. It's about me and mine, and then later on you're like, motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
Some people
Like,
leave a trail of
oh,
destruction.
fuck, man.
But other people leave for different reasons. For
Yeah, and
violence, drugs,
there's reasons to leave.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
There's some
but
marriages
there's
where
definitely
there's
reasons
people
to live.
getting hurt,
Oh, yeah.
violence,
Yeah,
drugs.
violence, all that.
Or
We're not
some-
saying
Or
that.
some
yeah.
people
Right.
just are in, and they're in a loveless marriage, and they're just together for the kid.
Right.
Sure.
And it's never going to work.
No.
Even, and so that we're not talking about that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about that.
No.
Well, thank you guys so much. And poor Gina. You want me to go take you to get some bread afterwards?
Ooh, shit.
No, I'm gonna get me bread
Some
tomorrow.
sourdough.
Yeah.
No,
She
but
likes her bread
again,
fluffy and warm.
I was talking to my friend. I was like, and he said like it's good because it sounds like you guys get
Yeah.
something from each other.
Oh,
right?
on the podcast?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. I love you. You're my best friend. I couldn't do this to anybody else because you already know me, because I know I'm hard and you know I'm hard.
Yeah.
And there's like almost never room for error, right? Like I expect women to be this certain way, and I expect moms to be this certain way, but I do give men a lot more slack than probably they need, and I don't give women slack because I'm a woman. And it's back to what Tom says. I expect this because I give this.
Right.
So I don't allow myself to be around weak women or bad mothers because I have zero tolerance for that.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So today
Me
I was
too.
trying to be team woman, but then you set me off with the bread. So,
Sidetrack with the
thank
bread.
you so much, Solomon.
Of course.
Subscribe onto YouTube. Tom and I have TikTok, Instagram. Gina has absolutely nothing. She
Nope.
refuses to get it. Thank you so much. And until next time, bye.
Bye.